Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. On this episode, we're going to be talking all about Premium Edition games, latest Direct, the Embracer Group's recent purchase, Nintendo of America's contract workers, and a lot more. My name is Steve, and I am, of course, joined as usual by Barry. Hey Barry, how's it going?
Hey Steve, always a pleasure.
Yeah, and also as usual by Greg. Hey Greg.
Hey everyone, great to be back.
Absolutely. We're going to be talking a lot about a lot of different gaming news tonight, what we've been playing, and a bunch more. If you are first time joining us, normally we are recording this live, and we record it live pretty much every other Monday, streaming on our YouTube channel and our Twitch channel as well, so make sure you head over there. But if you've not done so, please jump over to our social media. You can join us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at NintendoFuse. And also, if you've not done so yet, we have a Discord. We'd love for you to join it. You can find the links for all those in the show notes, also the YouTube description as well. And yeah, we love connecting with you guys in between shows. Like we said, this is normally a live recording, and we interact with our chat room the whole time through. But scheduling conflicts, this is going to be a pre-recorded show, and hopefully you can still, throw all your comments and thoughts about all the news stories, what you've been playing, and everything in the comments down below. We would love to read those after the fact. But yeah, let's jump into this week's episode and kick us off, Greg, with what you have been playing.
All right, so this is actually a slightly lesser list for me. I had a convention I went to last week, and then I will be talking about it a little bit later. But pretty much I dove really hardcore back into Pikmin 3 Deluxe. My daughter's been playing it recently. I decided, hey, maybe I'll just try playing through it on the ultra spicy difficulty, and I actually had a lot of fun with it being at its most challenging level. So it doesn't nearly give you as much juice from all the different fruits that you collect and everything, and I was still able to beat through the entire story mode. So I actually did complete that over this last 2-week period. And then I've also kind of dove into a little more Robot Named Fight, which I was trying to do before the convention I'll be talking about later. So it's still just kind of playing around with the different abilities and seeing how the game works. Like I was trying Barry's tip of resetting before I die, but it was still counting it as a death. But so I was still having fun there. And then I actually was just playing a bunch of the NES Online. So I loaded up and played some Double Dragon the other night, and then I also played some Punch Out. I've been seeing some people do streams on TikTok, and I was like, hey, maybe I'll just play through some of these NES games that I haven't played through in a while. Just feeling very nostalgic there.
Nice.
And then still playing some Fire Emblem Heroes. It's still going strong there, and there's got some new updates coming out in the next couple days here.
Nice. Barry, how about you? What have you been playing?
Still been doing Animal Crossing daily stuff, although I've been doing it ×2 since my wife didn't bring her Switch. So I've been doing daily stuff ×2, which is taking up a lot more time than I thought it would. And still doing Pokemon Unite, which is interesting because I haven't really messed with it yet. I need to get a headset for the Pro Controller, but they made the decision to allow voice chat in it finally in an update. So I'm now wondering, if I do get a headset, how fast will I be banned? But I thought that was interesting that they actually have headset functions now. Okay, because it's a game that really does require it. Communications, it really helps. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. You're listening to people. Good on you.
Yeah.
That's really it that I've done on the Switch. On the PS5 front, I finished Horizon Forbidden West. I was playing it last time. I got to the point where I started doing the story, and I would do the story, and then I would do all this extra bonus stuff before going on, and kept doing that pattern. And then I was like, well, I've been almost everywhere. There's still plenty of stuff I should do, like side quest stuff. I realized I was in the final mission. I'm like, this is it. This is the end of the game. I'm level 46, 47. The mission is level 38. I'm over leveled. I've done so much on the skill tree. Do I really want to spend another 20, 30 hours doing all this other side? No, I've had it. So I went and I finished the game and I beat it, and I'm happy I did it. I did not 100% it. I did less in terms of, I think it was 60 something percent, less than I did with the first game, but I had a good time. I still was 40 something hours. It was not a short thing. I recommend, but I still wish you can climb anywhere. It's my
Mm-hmm.
biggest gripe with the game. Like you just can't climb like Breath of the Wild. But it is a fun experience, and if you like open worlds, I do recommend it. Very little Final Fantasy 14 this past 2 weeks. I just have been way too busy, and I need to log in and do some stuff, but I just haven't had the time. And mobile, I'm Mario Kart Tour still chugging away with that, doing the tournaments, and still doing Dragalia Lost. Although I'm just like half-assing it at this point. It's just like, oh look, I got stamina to spend. All right, just do that, run it, go, whatever. Like I don't care anymore because it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. They're not adding new content in the story stuff. I can way over leveled, so I could just do that when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually surprised you're still playing it. I mean, I don't know. It's got to be a weird feeling to know this is all going to be gone soon.
It's all right. So I have this for years now since it started. I have this thing where I do not like my stamina or my gather wings to fill up. I don't like to fill it up. I make sure like because if it's filled up, I'm not gaining anything. So it's like a psychological. Like, oh, if I spend, then at least while I sleep, I'm gaining back, and while I'm doing other activities like recording a podcast, I'm gaining back. So it's like this thing where it's like I don't like to see it full. Like it triggers something in my head. Like, no, I have to spend, I have to do something. Even though I'm running superfluous stuff at this point, I'm gaining resources that I'll never use or never need. It's one of those weird, like, psychological things. And as I'm slowly breaking away from it, but it's like, it's a process. It's like an addiction in a sense. Even though it's not like, abusive thing, it's just like that psychological. Like, I don't want those filled up. Like, I watch videos for the game and people are like, oh, here's the news. And I see that they're filled up on the top. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? Like, spend that stuff now. You can be gaining while you're talking about this video.
Nice. Nice.
I was the same way with like Fire Emblem Heroes for at least like the first 2.5, 3 years,
Yeah.
and then I just wasn't maintainable. Like now it's like the stamina just sits there like maxed out because a lot of the stuff they just either cut to zero or whatever, or just I'm not actually gaining anything anymore because you
Yeah.
basically there's like nothing to actually there's like no resources to actually had that I could use.
It's a psychological thing, though. I think like you don't want
You know,
to don't want to waste
fully
your time.
agree. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, the stamina will be refilled in like 6 hours and 2 minutes. Like, I gotta like log right back on in 6 hours and 1 minute.
And like in Dragalia, when you level up, like your actual base level, you refill your stamina and you refill your gather wings. And I'm like trying math and like, how could I spend enough so that when I hit that level, I have as least over level so I could quickly get it under and start gaining again. Like it's like a stress thing. Like, oh God, I'm gonna level up and oh, it's gonna be in the morning. Maybe I should stay up a little later so I could just do stuff before bed, so I don't wake up and have a whole bar to go through. It's so weird.
It seems too stressful for me to. It's not even the game. It's like a meta thing in the game.
It's a meta game, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, and it's all gonna be gone soon.
I'll be free.
I know. You're counting down the days in a good way now. Instead,
I'll just go right back into Mario Kart Tour, I'm sure.
Well, Mario Kart Tour has instead it's like you can gain like up to 600 coins per day, and there's experience you can gain. I don't care about that. Like when I started, I was like trying to cap that every day. I'm like, I don't care. Like whatever. I'll do like 3 races a day just to relax, or I'll do the daily stuff, and like I'll do a few extra races. I'm fine with that. Like I don't need to cap every day.
that's funny.
You're like a cat, man. What's going on?
Nice. I actually had a very light gaming week. I thought I was going to have a lot more time, but while I was traveling, we just had we ended up striking up conversations with some random people in the airport, and one guy had been like trying to like get another flight, and he'd been there for days, and we just got into conversation, and all the stuff happened, and yeah, so I actually didn't even get a chance to play any games while I was traveling. So that really left me only to play Sorrow Virus, which we'll be talking about in just a little bit, and then Rocket League and a little Clash Royale as well. But yeah, that's all we ended up playing this last week. So not a whole lot. But Yeah, if you're watching this and you haven't let us know what you've been playing, we'd love to know what you've been playing as well. So make sure you do let us know in the comments. Greg, you went to an event over this last week. Tell us a little bit about your experience there at Midwest Gaming Classic.
Yeah, so on last Friday night, I drove up to Milwaukee to meet some more members of the Premium Edition team. Like I got to finally meet like face to face with Jeff, who's like one of the main co-founders behind it. In addition to Sheena and Josh and Joe from Video Games Monthly and Grant, and we all had a lot of fun just kind of like hanging out together. So like Friday night, we just got drinks at the hotel bar, and actually the people that are part of the Mortal Kombat like action sequences were all getting drinks there along with the NBA announcer Tim. So that was really cool to be so close to people doing like video game like stuff. Is pretty much like I was like nerdgasming inside my head. I was like, what the heck? I'm like next to the NBA announcer guy, and I'm having and what's this? He wants to click beers with me and buy me drinks, and like, what the heck? Like, this is so surreal to have that happen. And then Saturday was basically just getting everything all set up and running the booth. Like, I didn't have a lot of time to leave the booth because pretty much everybody else was leaving the booth, and somebody had to be there, which kind of fell to me. And then I wasn't really speaking up to get my chance to really walk around. So it was a great time, like meeting a lot of different people that were praising Premium Edition games, and like people didn't hear of us. They were certainly very interested once I was giving them like the whole speech on how we were like bringing games like physically and everything and showing off our quality products like Robot Named Fight and Demon's Tier and Pigeon Dev and everything. So I was explaining everything to dozens of people. Saturday night there was a concert from Kung Lao, who's like the actor that does it. He's also in a band. So then like he went on, I guess, closer to like midnight, which was much later than a lot of people were expecting. So it was pretty much a lot of people already like turned back away because it was so late and had another day of convention ahead. But we lasted about an hour or so, and it was really cool to hear him like perform like live music and everything. So that was again really cool. And the other Mortal Kombat guys were there in support of him, along with the NBA announcer Tim. So it was really cool to just be kind of talking with everybody on the Premium Edition Games team, along with these other people that they talk to a lot at a lot of these shows, I guess. So it seems like everybody seemed to know Jeff and always wanted to like give him like high fives and fist bumps. Like he was like the most popular guy there. So, but yeah, that was pretty cool Saturday. Then Sunday I actually had a chance to walk around a little bit. I did a panel with John, who's one of the developers behind one of the NES games that go into the Classic Edition. We'll be talking more about during the Direct. But pretty much I got to do like a live podcast like interview with him and talk to him about his game like Aura Body, and that was just really fun experience just to be able to interview someone on the spot on a game I've never even heard of or never even played. And it's got to have like my own industry talk for Midwest Gaming Classic. I think it was recorded and put on their website and everything for anyone that wants to see me do that like 20-25 minute interview. But yeah, it was a very fun time. Really cool to see tons of collection games. Some stuff was definitely way overpriced for when I actually got a chance to look around, but I was like, oh, this NES game for $200. No.
But if people are interested, they can just basically search for Midwest Gaming Classic if they want to check it out next year. Yeah. I'm glad you got the chance to go there. And unfortunately, Barry, you were left out. Still haven't met Greg in person yet. So.
No, I was supposed to go, but I didn't.
You haven't met me in person yet either. So
I haven't met you. Wait, that's your fault. That's your fault twice.
Yeah, we can share equal responsibility. One's yours, one's mine.
All right, Steve, when are we hanging out again?
Greg and I
put the pressure on Barry.
It's been a while, but Nice. Well, let's
Yeah, it helps to get family out this way. So
that is true. Let's jump into our game chat for this episode. We alluded to this at our last episode, but unfortunately there was still an embargo. But this episode we can actually talk about it. So Barry, go ahead and kick us off. Let us know what this game is all about, and then we'll dig into our discussion all about Sorrow Virus.
Yeah, so the game is The Sorrow Virus, a faceless short story. It's out now on Nintendo Switch. It came out April 27th of this year, 2022, published by East Asia Soft. And full disclosure, East Asia Soft did provide us the code, so thank you very much for that. This is a first-person puzzle, psychological horror experience. And I'm not a big horror guy, but some reason I somehow get drawn into horror games sometimes. And it was just one that the trailer looked intriguing, but I wasn't totally sold. And to be honest, Steve's excitement for the game from the trailer kind of pulled me in. Oh, I'm gonna request a code for that too. And I didn't really know what I was gonna get into when I got into this. And this is pretty much the story is that they've developed this virus called the Sorrow Virus, and what it allows you to do is it allows a person to die, go into purgatory, and they can escape purgatory and come back to life. And they're doing this to try and cure this guy's disease. And so they're like, the diseases keep killing him. We need more time. Send him back to purgatory. Maybe we could figure out some clues in purgatory to cure him. He comes back, lets us know, suffers again, dies. Rinse and repeat. So you play the role in purgatory as you go through purgatory and try and discover secrets and different things going on in this. Really, it's like a fever dream kind of place. And Steve, I'm curious, what are your thoughts going into this?
Yeah, I didn't remember actually liking this game as much. It was funny because it sparked you to be interested in it, and I forgot I was even excited about it, and so I had to look into it again. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I think I kind of remember this game and everything, and I have to say I did not like it. I am actually not a huge fan at all. Even though I may have expressed a lot of excitement in the very beginning, I am not a fan of this for a couple different reasons. One reason is more technical about the game itself, and then one is more the content. So I'll talk content first. This is a really weird and unsettling game, and I've never played a game that I felt so, I guess, unsettled in my spirit and heart. After I played it, I walked away going, I don't know if I want to come back to this game ever again. And that was part of my experience. And then the other part of it was I was physically sick as well, because there is something with the frame rate or something that just made me motion sick 25, 30 minutes into the game, and I was not feeling good afterwards. I went to the other room and I told my wife and was like, I am not feeling good. This game I was playing just left me in a not good place, mentally and physically. And I'm just I am not touching it. So I didn't touch it again. I've touched it little bits. Certain things that I didn't like. On top of that is if you are done, you can quit the game, but you have to restart when you go back to it. And well, I'm not restarting this game. I don't want to restart from the very beginning or whatever. You start back from when you wake up, it goes through the whole process again. There's no saving and coming back to it, anything like that. And I didn't like that either. So yeah, I didn't have a good experience. What about you, Barry?
Damn. I'll say, first, some first-person games do actually give me motion sickness, and this one didn't fully give me it. It did. It started. I turned on the fan, which usually helps. It cools me off, and I was able to get through it. I did it in. I don't know. There might have been one sitting. Just I had to take little breaks here or there to get dinner and stuff like that. But I think I did it all in one sitting. I never quit. But it was weird when I paused, and it was like you could pause, but time doesn't stop. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? So there is a time mechanic in this game, and the time mechanic is while you're in the purgatory, you have only so much time to escape. Now, the good news is there's clocks, there's a grandfather clock, and if you click them, they create checkpoints. So if you die, you start back there, but it also resets your timer. And there's like a specific clock that will not give a checkpoint, but or it'll give you a checkpoint, but it won't reset your time. And I never had a problem with the time. I never ran out of time, not once. So I don't know really the best way. Like they give you enough time, I feel, to figure things out. And there are puzzles. For me, the thing that got me was like the changing environments. So you'll go down this corridor and you're like, oh, I just go down this corridor. And then you'll get to the end and it's a dead end. And you'll be like, what do I do? And you turn around and it's different.
Yep.
Behind you is all different. And it's like, whoa, okay, that's kind of trippy. And I liked that. Once I figured out that was a mechanic. At first, I didn't realize it. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what do I do? What do I do? And then I was like, oh, wait. Oh, that changed. That's new. The messages on the wall, like the cryptic messages, and there's all the notes you could find. Now, I don't know if you had this problem. I played docked. I don't know if you played docked or
Yep.
handheld,
It was
but
docked. Yeah.
the notes were so small. Like the writing was so small that I actually, and I have a big TV. I have a
Mm-hmm.
75-inch TV, and the writing was so small. So what happened was I would get a note, I would take out my phone, I would zoom in and take a picture. I would then go back to the home screen to pause the game and bring up my phone and just read what the note was because I couldn't read it on the TV. It was
Yeah.
just so small. And I don't know if you encountered that problem when reading the notes littered around as well, or you were able to read them just fine.
Yeah. I think that was a problem just in general. Like things that I found, like it just wasn't a good game experience the whole time. Like things like we were saying, like things were too hard to read sometimes, or other times I'm like, I don't even get this. Like it doesn't make sense. Why do I need to do this? Like sometimes the game environments would change and sometimes they wouldn't. Like so you had to like trigger something that wasn't so clear. And I feel like the gaming experience as a whole was very, very, I don't know, it wasn't user friendly. And that's like what you're saying is just one example of many.
What's funny is I hate jump scares, and there were two that got me. And you're playing the trailer now, and both the jump scares are actually in this trailer. The first was really early in the game where you read a note and you turn around, there's dolls right there in front of you
Mm-hmm.
that are hanging, and like that made me jump. And the other was the door you got to open. I don't know if you got to it, and it like shoots, like there's a loud bang, and it just like runs away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
down a corridor, and that bang like really got me because I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go through this door. What the hell? So that one like really made my heart jump too. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my god, like it was just a sudden bang. I was totally complacent, like ready to go. But other than that, I mean, it's just an unusual experience. The story is weird, and there's multiple endings, so I got obviously one of the endings. I feel like there's more to it, um, that's below the surface, and it's one of those games that I feel you could dive into really deep if you want to run through it again and speed run it and figure things out. I didn't. I was content with beating it, and I could not, put that checklist like, yes, I beat the game. Um, and like you, I have no interest in picking it up again and going back in and trying it. The unsettling creepiness didn't bother me. I don't like jump scares, so those bothered me. I'm not a fan of jump scares. I'm not a fan of timed things or being like chased. So I didn't like the time element, but again, it really didn't hinder me, and there was no real chasing, so I was fine with that. But I do like psychological stuff. I think there's something to it, and maybe it stems from like Eternal Darkness. I loved Eternal Darkness. I loved that
Mm-hmm.
psychological atmosphere and the way it played with you as well as in the game. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think there's something to telling a story, um, that's not normal. I think there's something like we were just talking about, the psychology of letting stamina run out. Like this, our brains are so complex and so unique and so unusual that I love games that explore that. They may be creepy, they may be, unusual, they may be wrong, but it's an unusual take. It's a nifty take. The whole thing about like saving children, and the dolls represented the children, and you had to save your soul, so you had to find the doll, and you're chasing the doll, and the doll's running away from you, and like I like that. I like that. There's
Mm,
something really unsettling here. The story behind what happened to the parents, and the arguments going on, and the aid trying to help, and all that stuff. There was a really interesting story to tell that I just felt it was told too cryptically.
mm, yeah.
Like they got a little too ambitious with that. But the atmosphere I thought was very good. I liked how there were rooms that you would get to and it would be like destroyed, like a destroyed office, and then you'd like click a teleport thing and like you like your it was like your brain or the guy's brain envisioned it and it kind of like got back in the mindset of the right mindset and we remembered it differently and now the
Mm.
room was suddenly normal and doors that were like overgrown with grass now or trees can now you can go through and stuff. I liked that. I liked that changing environment because you weren't just going through environments, you were going through environments in someone's head.
Yeah.
So that part I did like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I still like as I was playing it and remembering what I initially thought when I first saw the game shown off. I think the concept is remarkable. I think it's really cool to be able to get into someone's head who's going through all that experience and all that stuff. But yeah, I think like you said, I don't know if it just wasn't pulled off well, and it was too cryptic in the story, but also too cryptic in what you needed to do. Like I felt like I just wandered around for way too long. Like I get
Oh, really?
like that you kind of feel like you're thrown into this, but you're also thrown into it with like very very little backstory, very little like explanation of what you're supposed to do at all. And so I felt like I was just wandering around for a while and just kind of found different things. I found the clocks. I clicked them. I didn't know what they did. And there was a
Well, there
lot
was a
of
note
that.
that said what it did.
Like, yeah, I didn't even see it. Maybe it was too small to even read.
It
I
was
don't
too
know.
small.
but
Yeah, there
yeah,
was
I
a
feel like,
note.
but by that point too, if by the point that I finally figured out a little bit what I was supposed to do, I was already starting to get physically sick from just motion sickness from playing, and at that point too, I was realizing I don't know if I feel too good overall, and I haven't had a desire to go back to it. And I think that's the unfortunate thing is like I can get certain games are for certain people and that's fine, but like because I didn't have a good experience with the game, it kept me from going back to it later, like and experiencing it again because I didn't have a good gameplay experience as well.
Yeah, it's not a terribly long game. It's only a couple hours, and faster the second, third times because you know the puzzles and you know what to do and where to go. And I know there's like certain things to do. Like there's a lock in the very first room you get into with a padlock, and you don't have a pad. Like I'm sure if you knew the code, you can go through there and see different things. There were some interesting puzzles. A lot of it involving lighting candles. One of them that was a padlock one. It was you had to guess the number, and there were numbers on the four corners of the room hidden, and it
Mm.
was a little note saying like, oh, John first ran north, and then Jim went west, and then so and so went and like oh, you go north and you find the number there. Okay, that's the first number of the combination. It was really cool, and they were all different ways of showing the number. It wasn't just just here's the number five. It was maybe five things, or one was a clock, and you had to guess what the time it was is the number. Like cool things like that. There was some thought put into it, and definitely clever. Voice
Mhm.
acting I thought was also good. The music
Mhm.
was atmospheric. I liked that there was a lot of the audio recordings you heard, and that was cool. But I don't think I need to even ask this question, but I do feel I need to ask this question. Steve, would you recommend this game?
Oh, 100% no. Uh, yeah, no, I do. I wouldn't. I think it's definitely it's ambitious. I think it's got a lot of promise, but for at its final state as of now, no, I wouldn't. I think there's a lot of tweaks and things they could improve upon, and it might convince me to say yes if you like that kind of thing. But right now, I wouldn't actually recommend it to anybody. Which is pretty strong, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's strong. I think the game's rough around the edges. Like you could see, it was probably like a PC game ported to the Switch. And maybe the Switch doesn't perform as well. but it is normally $14.99. It's on sale as of the time of this recording for $11.99 digitally. I don't think I would recommend it at that price either. I think $4.99 I would recommend it if this all sounds interesting to you. If you like the idea of going through purgatory and seeing what someone's internal psyche is like and figuring out puzzles, and you like first person adventures, and you really want to dive into the story, then yes, I think at $5 you're getting your value. But if not, I also am gonna have to say pass.
All right. Well, Greg, did we convince you to get this game?
Oh, your glowing review made me want to just pre-order right away on the eShop. No,
I figured.
That was full sarcasm. But yeah, sounds like I got lucky to dodge a bullet there, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's an interesting concept. And I can't remember if we said this already, but huge thanks to East Asia Soft for providing those codes as well. But I think that's all for our game discussion. Let's move into our news discussion for this episode. And we've got some big stuff to talk about. One of these stories is, maybe a little bit tied to two of our podcast hosts here. Yeah, let's jump into this week's news discussion. And we'll start with Premium Edition games. Premium had their Series 4 Direct on May 2nd and showed off brand new games that are becoming physical. And Barry, how about you run through what those games were and what was discussed at the Premium Edition Direct?
Sure. So we did have our Direct. We did premiered it live, which is always a fun time. And we showed off Series 4 is going to contain two different titles. We showed off Wonderling Dx, which is a fantastic pretty much 2D puzzle platformer, and pretend like you're like a Goomba and you got to stop Mario, and that's the basis of this. You are the equivalent of a Goomba, and you gotta fight Carrot Man, and you have to go through each level, and like Goombas, they auto walk back and forth. That's what you do. You're auto walking, and you have to use that, and then hitting off walls to your advantage as you get through stages. Lots of secrets in hidden areas, and there's an element of time where you use like flowers you gotta grab, but if you don't grab after a certain amount of time, you die. So you have to purposely sometimes leave flowers for your return trip, because sometimes you have to go back through a stage. Really fun level design, really great graphics. And we waited on this. We've had this for a while signed, but we waited for the DX update, which adds even more levels and more challenge. So you're getting the full game. We also revealed that we have the Retro Edition coming out, which is going to also contain the soundtrack, an enamel pin, and a vinyl sticker set. And that vinyl sticker set's like fatheads. So those will go on the inside of the case, and you can kind of make your own custom cover if you reverse it. So some fun stuff we have planned. Then we also showed off another game called Rain on Your Parade, which is our second title. Rain on Your Parade is a very unique genre of game. Like, I'd put it with Katamari Damacy, Untitled Goose Game, stuff like that, where you play a cloud suspended by strings, and your job is literally to rain on people's parade. Like, you destroy different events, and you cause havoc and mayhem, and it's all in good fun, and there's different objectives every level, and then there's levels based on Zelda and Metal Gear Solid and like a bunch of tributes. And of course, we have the Retro Edition there as well, which gives you even more goodies. You get the more vinyl cloud set, you get the enamel pin, and you get a thick cloudy coaster. On top of that, at premiumeditiongames.com, if you do pre-order any version of either of these games, you will get a dog tag for each game exclusively. So it's $50 for the standard retro or standard premiums, and $70 for the retros. And they will go up for pre-order May 10th till June 10th. So it's 4-week pre-order. So that was our Series 4. We also showed off something that's really, really cool, and that is our Classic Series, which Greg alluded to earlier. And the Classic Series is 10 NES aftermarket homebrew titles. So these are titles that were developed by passionate developers for the NES to run on original NES hardware. And they do. They put out their ROMs. They're like, here's our game, and it's really cool. They're obviously very, very passionate developers that would love to be on Nintendo. But Nintendo isn't certifying any more new NES games at this point. But we are in-house porting them all to the Nintendo Switch in one giant collection, physically. All 10 games will be on the cart, plus some bonus exclusive games that are going to be on the cart as well that we haven't announced, but they're there. So the games are Orebody Binder's Tale, which is something that Greg alluded to with his interview, Nessie the Robot, Space Raft, Ninja 1 and 2, Kubo 3, Assimilate, Jester, Era the Crow Maiden, Doodle World, and Ya BBs 2. So all of that's coming summer. So we're going to have a retro edition of that as well, which we have not shown off. And then we teased Series 5 with the game Raji, an Ancient Epic, the Enhanced Edition. That is coming next series. We're so proud to be able to tease that off and show that off to everybody because, we've been keeping that a secret for so long, and it's just great to get that off our chest and to really show it off to everybody. It's just an awesome action adventure based out of Indian culture, and it's just beautiful. Other things we showed off is we showed off the Gamers for Gamers variants for Series 3. Those will go up later, and those, again, benefit the Gamers for Kids charity, 20% of each. And what we didn't show off, but what we will have available on our website at the same time as Series 4 are dog tags for Series 1 and 2. We're going to be selling Super Blood Hockey, Pigeon Dev Games Collection, Robot Name Fight, Demon Steer dog tags with a chain for $10. So you can start your set. If you pre-ordered Series 3 from us, you'll get a dog tag for each of those games, and the same with Series 4. So you can kind of collect your own dog tag set as well. Just some little extra things we're doing. But it was a blast, and great that we were able to show everything off.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I think the things, of course, that I stood out to me, of course, was Raji. I think back to the time where the game was first shown off, and I go, Barry, you think you can get into physical? And we're like, that'd be amazing. And then here we are. You're announcing it to actually come physical, so that's really cool. Yeah, I'd heard of both Wonderling and Rain on Your Parade before, but yeah, it was cool to see you guys dig into it a little more and see both of those games coming, and the artwork and everything sounds great. I think Rain on Your Parade might be one of those ones that I eventually will check out and play. Like you said, it's like, Untitled Goose Game is one of those goofy games that could be fun just to play around with here and there. But yeah,
Greg can talk to you all about Rain on Your Parade.
Yeah, yeah, Greg, let's hear it. Why should people be buying these games? Like this year, like you get to put on both hats as you and Barry are, in both worlds here. But what's so great about these games, and why should people buy the physical?
Well, not only would you get like these awesome like retro editions with all our other goodies, but like this is a game that you'll then be able to have in your collection forever. So if you do get the physical copy, it will always be there on your shelf. So that unfateful day when the Switch eShop goes away, which obviously will happen at some point in the future, to be determined, obviously. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to download or play these miraculous games without the physical copies. So Rain on Your Parade is, just as you were saying, with like an Untitled Goose Game or like Golf Story or whatever, like it's or What the Golf, not Golf Story, and it's just like really silly, and like it's like, how can they make it just? It's just such a joy to play. It puts a smile on your face. The very opening level is like raining on like an outdoor wedding. So it's like you're just making it rain on to the bride and groom and all their guests and everything, and there's something just so satisfying just seeing people like getting upset with their day. I mean,
it reminds me of I don't know if you guys played SimCity. I think 3000 was the first one that incorporated like events that you can happen, so like a tornado or different things like
had that too.
2000 as well. Okay, so
you had volcanoes and stuff like that.
Yeah, sometimes you just like, I just want to cause havoc on civilizations, so I'm just gonna send a volcano or send a tornado. It sounds like that, basically is what you're doing, just with clouds and raining on people this time.
Yeah, and one of the cloud abilities is a tornado, so you do get to like
there you go.
Suck all the little humans up into like little funnels and do it. And like once you beat the game, they add some bonus missions onto the level, so you can replay all the early levels using all the full range of powers that you get throughout the game. So like you have to go to a beach level and you have to like get everyone wet without using the rain ability. So that's like kind of interesting there. So it's like you have to kind of like swing them with the tornado like into the water as like, and it's just lots of crazy fun. It's nothing stressful, no like time limits or anything like that. You're just kind of relaxing and just having a good laugh, just like getting people all wet or like striking them with lightning or snow or whatever and watching them fall. It's really fun.
Nice. Nice.
On top of that, the game did have additional DLC with new modes and a bunch of stuff, so that's also going to be included on the card. So you're getting really the complete package for the game.
That's cool. Yeah, and Wonderling as well. That has all the DLC too.
Wonderling has everything. Yeah. Wonderling was free DLC, but we waited for the content to be done, so the card is going to have all that content there. The Rain or Parade is paid DLC.
Oh, and it's also included. Nice.
It's included on the card.
Nice. Well, that's really cool. Yeah. Any insider information, anything that you guys would like to say from your premium edition hat before we move on to the next story? Anything that's the NintendoFuse audience should know about these games at all?
I'll let Greg go first.
Well, I'm gonna be starting to gear up to be head of distribution. So, like, if you're a local store and wish to hold these games in your store, just send me an email at greg at premiumeditiongames.com, and I can work through a distribution contract with you to get your games sold locally at your store.
Cool. And probably if you have a local store, around you and you want them sold there, put Greg in contact with them too.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of distributors are excited and they're reaching out, and we're happy to partner with all of them. But yeah, if these are the type of games where, not every game is for everybody, and some people might say, oh, well, this doesn't look up my alley, and you know what? I think it's worth a shot. I know Wonderling has a free demo, so if you're like on the fence or you're like, I don't know, like, try the demo. It's free. See if you like it, and if you say, oh, I do like it, then absolutely, support the developers and get the game. I don't know if Rain on Your Parade has a demo or not, but it's just an amazing title. And watch trailers. We do have a stream. Premium Edition as a Twitch. So on this past Wednesday, Frank streamed for us both games, so you can go and rewatch that stream and you can see live, playthrough of it, or at least parts of it. And we'll be streaming more of it if you're watching this live tomorrow on the 10th, we'll be streaming on the launch day. So just if you're watching this live again, tomorrow is when they go up for pre-order. That's May 10th till June 10th, and it's open pre-order for the standard premiums, and the retros are limited to 500 each on the webpage. And regardless of which version you get, if you get it from a webpage, you do get the dog tags as a pre-order bonus. We also made an announcement that we are working again with Video Games Plus, which is something that people wanted for. So your Canadian listeners, you can absolutely purchase there. But also know that we did lower our international shipping significantly. So, check our site first, see what's cheaper shipping. And remember, you get the dog tag only from us.
Nice. Well, let's move on. There's been some interesting news over the last week or so, and there was a little rumors around this first, and then all of a sudden it broke through that an organization called Embracer Group was making some acquisitions. Not acquisitions. I don't know what that word is, but acquisitions, and they're going to be getting none other than Square Enix, the majority of their Western Studios IP, for $300 million. Yes, that's $300 million. But Embracer Group is going to be acquiring all of that IP from their Western studios. So that includes like Tomb Raider, or I guess, did they already? I think they already sold off. Yeah, no, Tomb Raider, and several other games. Essentially, like this is an organization that has purchased a lot of different gaming IP over the years. It's probably something you've never heard of before, but they've actually, like, once we started looking into it, and like, wow, they actually own a lot of different IP and gaming. So this is not something completely out of the blue. But yeah, now this Embracer Group is going to hold Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and more than 50 back catalog games from Square Enix Holdings Ltd. So yeah, what do you guys think about this? Did it completely shock you when you heard about this? And I don't know, where's this going? There's a lot of news here, for sure. If you haven't checked out our article on NintendoFuse.com, make sure you check that out. If you're watching the video version, we have it on screen right now. Yeah, what do you guys think about this? Let's go to you first, Greg.
It's kind of a lot to like take in. So it's are they actually going to be like publishing new games and all these franchises, or are they just kind of like buying up the IP to like just hold them ransom kind of thing?
No, it's the studios too. It's not just the IP.
Yeah,
they bought the studios as well. So yeah, they'll be doing stuff with it.
Yeah, it's basically like there's this new umbrella company over all of them, kind of. At least that's how I read it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it obviously could be a good thing for some of the franchises that like Square's not like actively doing involvement with it, because I think it's been a while since we've seen like Tomb Raider like games. So I guess it could be a blessing there for those to get like some needed attention. And obviously Nintendo has like a back catalog of franchises like Star Tropics and F-Zero that haven't seen the light of day and for the longest time it feels. But I guess it could be interesting to see like other takes on those like franchises, but from another company like Embracer Group. So, I mean, it seems like it's a good idea there, but I mean, obviously Square felt it was worth to sell off those parts. So I don't know if there's something bigger with Square like willingly getting rid of those franchises, but I guess we'll have to be kind of one of those things. We'll have to kind of wait and see what happens with that.
Yeah. Yeah, Barry, I know you've had some mixed feelings about Square over the years, but for them to not only sell off, like we said, all that IP, all their employees, the studios, and everything, it's all coming with them for $300 million. Is this a good move?
I don't think so. Square has made some questionable judgments, and lately we've seen it. Marvel's Avengers did not do well because it was a games for service. Babylon's Fall is abysmal. Or performing abysmally because it's a games for service. Guardians of the Galaxy was a great game, but it underperformed their expectations. Tomb Raider took a while to be profitable. Just Cause didn't do well. Hitman didn't do well. Like, their expectations are so lofty. They're way higher than they should be. And it's a shame because a lot of these games that they put out have been fantastic lately, And I think they claim they want to look into blockchain and NFTs, and that's the worst way to go for a game developer. You're going in the wrong direction, Square. Like, don't go there. But $300 million is pretty much highway robbery. Like, to you and I, like, it'd be like, 300. I would love to even have $1 million, let alone 300 million. But when you talk about these established IPs, Legacy of Kain, Thief, and you're talking 3 major studios and all the employees. You look at Activision Blizzard, it was billions of dollars, and Bungie was billions. And this is 3 studios with all these legendary IPs for 300 million. That's like a fire sale. I'm sure they could have had a bidding war. I'm sure they could have gotten it up. There's no reason.
Yeah.
Crystal Dynamics, right? Well, go on.
I would say, didn't Elon Musk just buy Twitter for $44 billion?
44 billion. Yeah, and this is 300 million.
Yeah,
that's not even a third of a billion. I mean, like, that's ridiculous. And I know Crystal Dynamics is working on the new Perfect Dark for Rare and Microsoft. They're still doing that. They're still going to be doing that. But like, that's a talented team. That's a talented studio. It seems like they're getting rid of all their Western studios. They want to focus on the East. Some people believe that they're positioning themselves to be bought out themselves, and that's what the president wants. Rumor is that maybe Sony will buy them, which I think will be terrible because, Sony will not share Square Enix IP, and I think Square Enix as a third party should be, universal to go everywhere. But I guess we'll see. Only time will tell what will happen. But it's one of those things where I don't know what they're thinking. This goes up there with the $12,000 Terra statue they decided to announce. what are you thinking? Like, are you just purposely making like do you have a wheel of like the worst business decisions possible, and whatever it stops at, you just do? Oh, Platinum Games do a games for service. Oh, cherished Final Fantasy character, $12,000 statue. Oh, sell all your Western studios for next to nothing. Like, change your wheel, do some good stuff. Like, make a new Chrono game. Make a new Mana game. Do put the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters on consoles. Like, there's so many better things to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think this is something that I think the best part about the story is it brought Embracer Group to life. And I think a lot of people, myself included, had never heard of Embracer Group. And now that we see what's under their umbrella, that's ridiculous what they have. And from what I understand, they're just a firm that just buys up this stuff, lets the studios do whatever they want, doesn't police anything, and they just, as long as they're profitable, they'll let them do whatever they want, which sounds great on paper. When they've got as many properties and as many studios as they have, you have to look at them, because that's something. They have more studios than Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo put together, and that's after all the buyouts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have a stupid big umbrella. It's huge. It's like a quarter of the entire gaming industry in terms of major studios is Embracer Group at this point.
Yeah.
And the IPs they own is disgusting. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, and you wonder, like, are they poised to do something else, or are they going to just keep sitting back and basically just keep making money, or are they actually going to make a bigger move at some point?
I mean, I don't think Embracer Group wants to get into like the console business, if that's what you're thinking. I think they're just going to say, make whatever games you want using RRPs, and as long as it's profitable, well, you can keep doing it. And once it's not profitable, who knows what happens.
Right. Well, that's probably the biggest question, right? Like, what will happen if they don't perform like as Embracer Group wants them to? It seems like you said, like if they're okay, hands off, no problem. But all of a sudden, they don't start performing. What will happen then? Will we see them just kill it off altogether because they don't have this connection that these other companies did? That's just a property. It's a moneymaker for them. And if it's not making money, then we'll just kill off Tomb Raider, and Tomb Raider doesn't exist anymore. And you're like, wow, that's a huge thing in the gaming world to lose Tomb Raider.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think if anything, they would sell Tomb Raider. They would want to recoup money on their investment, not kill the franchise.
That's a good point. Yeah. You alluded to this earlier, Barry, but I want to go ahead and just make sure that I read the statement from the president of Square Enix. Said that the transaction will assist the company in adapting to the changes underway in the global business entertainment by establishing a more efficient allocation of resources, which will enhance corporate value by accelerating growth in the company's core business in the digital entertainment domain. In addition, the transaction enables the launch of new businesses by moving forward with the investments in fields including blockchain, AI, and the cloud. Greg, do you think this is a good move for Square to start investing in blockchain, AI, and the cloud?
I mean, I don't know much about those, but it probably doesn't seem like it's that good of an investment. I mean, we already know about like the cloud gaming stuff, like with the not even bringing games fully to Switch and whatnot, and that's kind of like a disaster area there. So, I mean, if it can make it more like sustainable, then I guess that can be a worthy investment. But I don't think we're there yet with like some of these hardware stuff that we have going on already. So I don't know. It could turn out to be something useful, but right now it doesn't seem like that's the way to go. And I don't know, maybe they're seeing something that I don't.
Yeah. I think that about a lot of companies when they're kind of taking this investment in, especially blockchain and AI and stuff. And like, I guess AI makes a little more sense, but the blockchain stuff, I don't know. I mean, this is the company that brings us Final Fantasy and Just Cause, and like, why were you pivot to like Life is Strange? Like, well, the good thing is that Just Cause, Outriders, and Life is Strange IPs are still in Square Enix's hands, but they also, in addition to all that stuff, want to start doing blockchain stuff. I'm like, that's fine. It's a new endeavor, fine, but like, why put it under the Square Enix umbrella? Like, just start a separate business and start investing in it that direction. Like, let Square keep putting out solid RPGs and stuff like that. Like why shift and pivot unless there's really some problems underneath the hood that we don't see. I mean, maybe that's why they sold off all this for $300 million. Maybe all that Western IP was actually not in a good place at all, and they're just like, we got to get rid of this and recoup our losses, let someone else take care of this so that we can keep moving on with the stuff that actually does make us money. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot that we don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I mean, obviously Nintendo did pivot in the 80s. I mean, it was more like trading cards and those like more toy company, and then they pivoted completely into video games. So it could be something that Square is trying to recognize as more like importance kind of thing, like to the company and the owners and investors. So I don't know. I mean, it could have its dividends if it does yield something like profitable, but obviously we can't make this judgment at this time because it's basically just the announcement of the acquisition. So
it's true. Well, let's move on to our final big story of this episode. And some things have been kind of getting out into the public about Nintendo of America's contract workers specifically. So this is, if you're unfamiliar with that kind of a term, sometimes companies will hire people to do specific jobs for their company, and they'll pay them for that specific project or that specific job. That's a simple definition of what a contract worker is. And Nintendo, like a lot of other companies, have companies or have people that do contract jobs for them. And IGN did a huge piece on all of the employees, or not all of them, but a good chunk of the employees. And then there's actually been some frustration started to come out. So they did this in-depth look at the experience specifically of contract workers at Nintendo of America. And a lot of them have started opening up about their discontent around working for Nintendo of America specifically, saying that, it's not a good work environment. They basically, they feel like underclass citizens compared to the primary, full-time employees for Nintendo of America. Meanwhile, people that have worked for Nintendo of America, for the most part, love their job, love everything about it. They really, the experience of working for that game company has always been really positive. But the contract workers have not felt that same experience at all, and they've kind of felt like it was an us versus them. They're just doing this job. And I will say, before we jump into any discussion around this, I know just talking with other people that do contract work, I know that is not a thing that is solely Nintendo of America. That is maybe just a Western world, United States kind of approach to contract workers, and a lot of different companies out there, a lot of different organizations out there, they don't view contract workers as the same as regular employees. They don't, the people that are working for Nintendo America, they're saying, oh yeah, we don't get invited to the company, holiday parties and things like that. And honestly, like I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's not just Nintendo of America who's experienced this, and the contract workers that are working for them. This is a thing that I think is much bigger than just them. But they have started, coming out and saying that the work environment's not that great. And so I'm wondering now, what is Nintendo actually going to do about this? Are they going to take some stances? Are they just going to say that's who we are? A lot of it's around just their IP, and they like, hey, we have to keep really tight-lipped. You're a contract worker. We want to sign the same contracts as, I don't know. So there's a lot in this. If you have not checked out the article, head over to IGN. You can read the entire article that we're scrolling on the screen of the video version right now. But Barry, what do you think about all this coming out recently?
I think it's interesting that it's all coming out now, but for me, like, I know what contract work is, and I know that it's you're not full time. But I think what really hurts in this situation is it seems like they were promised, like, oh, you're here for contract work, but you can get full time. Like, you can do this and work hard, and we can move you to full time. And it was like dangling that carrot. And no matter how hard they worked, they never got that carrot. They never were able to achieve full-time status. And well, I think it did happen to a few, but it was so few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
And they were treated worse. Like there was strict attendance rules where like if you missed 3 days, you were fired. And like one of the person they're talking to accounts that were one person came in even though they were sick because they couldn't get fired, but they wound up giving the disease to everybody else because it was a viral disease. So they got the whole center sick because they didn't want to get fired. And like that's terrible. Like they should be allowed to stay home and rest and at least work from home and not transfer disease, especially now in a post-COVID world. We should know how important it is to not transfer disease to other people. Um, so that's one thing. I know there was a thing where Nintendo did like a pride parade and like one of the contractors was like a gay transsexual or something like that, or and they wanted to go and do it, and they wouldn't, and their boss fought for them, and they were eventually able to do it, but they had to like fight for the right just to march in a parade. Like these are things where we should the whole company should come together. I feel they touched on, and I thought of Greg when they did this. They touched on like Fire Emblem Heroes and uh, the whole mobile division, how it's like second class, and like even the Fire Emblem, they have to use like fan made wikis to get information on characters. Like Nintendo won't even give them official information on their IP that they're working on, and that to me is just so weird. Like, come on, just they're in there. They have a contract, right? And the contract does an NDA. What are you afraid of? It's then if they go blabber, then you go ahead and you not only fire them, but you can take them to court, whatever you want to do. But they're working for you, and if they've found workers in a good environment will work better than workers in a hostile environment or an environment where they don't feel appreciated. That's just common sense. So it saddens me that this is the case in every company. I'm not pinning this just on Nintendo. It's every company. Contractor workers, should they be full-time employees? No, but they can work. I feel if you're going to say you could work towards full-time, absolutely let them work towards full-time. One person in the interview was talking about she was doing an interview to apply for full-time after a certain amount of time and got a call in the middle of the interview that her sister died and had to leave immediately because of that traumatic experience and tragedy, and she didn't get the promotion because of that. And I'm like, you're really gonna hold that over someone's head? Like, come on, have a heart. Like, say, you know what? Let's do the interview a second time. Let's reschedule it. You have to deal with what you have to deal with. Like, be human and treat other humans as human. Like, you get more, further in the world, but it's just a sad article to read.
Mm. Yeah, Greg, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Barry. I mean, it is pretty disheartening to see. I mean, I do understand the contract work positions are normally more not treated as fairly, but this seems like it's taking it a step beyond that initially because like they can't even use like the Cafe Mario to get like food, and like Barry already kind of alluded they can't take like time off or like sick time, and there was some other things where they couldn't even like get up to like take a minute to go to the bathroom. I mean, this is like some extreme kind of stuff. Like contract, you're permitted to like work the hours and stuff like to get like the job done. Like we have contractors at my like day job, and they have like the freedom to take up other contracts when we're not utilizing them for their hours. So it's like we're not like holding like preventing them from like using the bathroom or anything ridiculous like that. So this is like very like age minded kind of stuff going on here, where it's like you have to be at your computer all 8 hours. You can't leave to get a snack, go get a drink of water, can't use the bathroom, can't take like times off. Like this is just very extreme, and this situation certainly needs to be addressed. Like they need to be treated more like human beings and not like just animals or something that's like tied with a chain to their desk. I mean, this is absurd.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, and I know like IGN and other people are now wondering, is Nintendo headquarters in Japan going to take action? I think we've only heard of this sort of an issue happening specifically at Nintendo of America, not at the main headquarters, and so it could be just a like we said, like this is not, maybe this is a little bit over overdoing it and what other companies have, how they treat their contract workers. Maybe Nintendo of America is kind of going overboard with that, but it is a common thing, at least a similar experience with a lot of contract workers in the Western world. And I'm wondering, I don't know enough about Japan culture to know if they would look at this and go, hey, this needs to stop and we're going to take some action here, or if they also maybe do the same thing in Japan with their contract workers. Do you guys know anything about that and want to speak into anything with what Japan and the main headquarters could be doing?
I don't know what Nintendo Japan does, but I know they're a very old-fashioned company, so they're like rooted in tradition. So if that's the tradition over there, then it wouldn't surprise me if they did it too. I don't know though.
Yeah, Greg, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I pretty much just echo what Barry was just saying. I don't know enough about over there, and it certainly could be that they're just so set in their ways. And Nintendo has always been kind of like known for being stuck in the past. I mean, how they treat their online system and everything else like they do seems to be kind of very rooted like backwards instead of forwards. So I don't know. Don't want to make that assumption over there, but I guess you never really know unless there's more actual reports on it.
It's true. Yeah, it's a good point. And I think, the good thing is, this is unfortunate, but the good thing is, we, with all these other companies that we've talked about in the past several episodes, I feel like, having like really, really bad situations come out, we've not had any scandals or anything like that come out of these stories. I hope that's the case. I hope that stays the case. I hope they're, know that actually did happen. Bad work environment is important, and they should be addressing that for sure. But I'm really glad that no one was like really seriously hurt in all this stuff. But it is still a hurt, and I think it's important to I think what you both of you guys said. Like some of these people are like, this is possibly their what they think is their path to their dream job of working at Nintendo as a full-time employee. And if they're told, hey, yeah, you work here for such and such amount of time and do this job well and everything, we'll consider you as a full-time employee. And then like 3% of those people or less actually get that chance later. Like that's tough. And that's some state laws are different on that too. I know here in Colorado, you can't even tell people that there is an option later down the line because it's a verbal contract at that moment. And you're saying, hey, like, there is a chance, and then they can actually hold you to that later on. I don't know what it's like in Washington, if they have anything like that at all. But if they do, man, like Nintendo needs to watch what they say then, because these people could come back and actually maybe talk about lawsuits because like, hey, you told me that I have a job here if I work so many hours, and now you're not holding them to it. Like that could actually be some lawsuits on their hands, and that would not be good at all. So this could be blow up into a lot bigger of a thing if they don't watch it.
I mean, Nintendo's been known for their lawyers, so I'm pretty sure they would have had advice on that kind of situation. I mean,
that's a good point.
But
yeah,
I guess you never really know. I mean, they could be more after IP lawyers and not employment lawyers. So who knows?
That's true. Well, anything final to say before we move on to a couple quick headlines in these stories at all? Got anything? Nope.
Nah.
All right. Well, let's move on. Hit a couple quick headlines that we want to make sure that you guys know about. And kicking us off will be Greg. So, Greg, tell us about sales.
Yeah. So the NPD group released the March 2022 sales reports. So it was pretty much reporting that the Nintendo Switch was the best-selling hardware platform and of both March 2022 and the first overall quarter of the year. The Xbox Series X and S led in dollar sales, though, for both time periods, probably because of the price difference. For software, Elden Ring held the #1 spot for top 20 of March 2022, but Kirby and the Forgotten Land came in at number 3. They also had some other details for the top 10 best sellers for Switch. Kirby and the Forgotten Land was number 1 for Switch overall, followed by Pokemon Legends Arceus, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Triangle Strategy, Mario Party Superstar, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Rune Factory 5, and New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
And if you've been a little bummed about E3, like we all are, we kind of want it to happen, Jeff Keighley has possibly an answer for you. The Summer Game Fest is happening for the 3rd year in a row, and he's going to kick it off with his cross industry showcase. This is going to happen live Thursday, June 9th. It's 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. There's going to be game announcements, reveals, and then after that, they're going to do the Day of the Devs presentation.
Right. Well, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me that Nintendo's still, selling a lot of games. Are you guys going to be tuning into the Summer Game Fest at all? Greg, you going to be tuning in the whole time, or?
I mean, it all depends on timing and stuff. I mean, with my rapid changing schedule and everything like that, I hopefully at least get recaps if I don't watch it, but I'll try to make an effort to watch it if I can.
Yeah. Yep. How about you, Barry?
I mean, I plan to watch it. The unfortunate thing with some of these, it's you're going to get a game you're excited about, and then you're going to get a game you're not. And sometimes they'll, if the pacing is bad, I hate presentations where they'll spend 15 minutes on one game. I don't care if it's your favorite game or your least favorite game. Like, you shouldn't do that. It's just terrible pacing, and I hope they've learned and they don't do that. I think last year they did something like Call of Duty or something like or Rainbow Six. We did like 15, 20 minutes on Rainbow Six, and it was like, if you don't care about Rainbow Six, you're tuned out. You're done. You've lost your audience. No more than 5 minutes. Really try and shoot for 3 minutes. Bang, bang, bang. You don't want to lose that audience. So hopefully they've got pacing down. Hopefully they're going to show off some cool stuff. I know Nintendo's not a partner, so I don't expect to see anything from Nintendo, especially with a Direct supposedly coming next month as well. But we might see some cool third-party stuff.
Yeah, same. I feel like Summer Game Fest is it's cool to have something, but I feel like it's almost like they tend to take the same experience that Sony usually did at their E3 presentations on stage and like move that over to online. And yeah, they spend way too much time on some games, and it's just like, all right, we get it. Like, I know what this game is about. Like, tell us about another, put that on another place. If you want to learn more about this, head this direction, and then keep moving and keep the whole process moving for those people that have no interest in that game at all. So yeah,
Jeff Keighley's also done things where they'll like do a trailer and then they'll come back and he's like, oh, I'm here with the producer of the game, let's run us through this demo. And it's like, no, do that after the presentation's done.
Not as a part of the presentation afterwards. So I usually what's best for me is I usually watch the highlights later, like, because that's a better experience for me, and then I can go back and if something grabbed my eye, and then I'll go back and watch more of it. But yeah, the better experience usually is just highlights for me. So that's probably what I'll do this year too.
Yeah, I'm probably going along with that, because I mean, obviously, if it's like Barry was saying with like Rainbow Six going like 20 minutes, like I don't think I'd have the time, like patience to sit through that. I feel like I would just be clicking off and doing something else, where it's like, this game is not in any interest. I don't care that I'm not going to buy it or anything like that. So I know like Nintendo has come much around the idea of like actually not really doing that as frequent. Like, normally, like when there's like an upcoming game, like, oh, let's spend like 20 minutes on like all these different features, and I think they've really toned it down like over these like last like few years. Like, they still mention that it's coming, but it's only like, oh, here's a new trailer, and that's kind of it. They don't like deep dive and be like, oh, look at this speck of grass that's been improved from the last like
right.
And that's the last time Nintendo did that was the E3 they announced Smash Ultimate. where they did like a really short E3 presentation, and then the last like 25 minutes was all Smash Ultimate. Which, if you loved Smash, it was wonderful. But if you didn't, you were instantly tuned out. And that's why I like when Nintendo does the directs for just one game, because oh, this is a Smash Direct. I'm going into it if I love Smash. If I don't love Smash, I don't have to watch. I think that's a smarter thing.
Well, it's also nice, and like that one specifically, I love how they saved it to the last, and they let you know, hey, the rest of the time we're going to spend on this game. So you know ahead of time too. You're like, oh, I can tune out, and I don't feel like I'm going to miss anything later. So that approach, or like doing the Treehouse Live later, after the fact, stuff like that is great. Just being able to communicate with the audience and keep it moving. But then if you want to know more later, come back later. We'll do the deep dive then. And I like that approach a lot better too. Well, let's before we move into the games that are going to be coming out over the next couple weeks before we are back for our next episode, I do want to quickly remind you, if you have not followed us on social media, at NintendoFuse is where you can find us, and also join our Discord. The links for all of those are going to be in the show notes for the podcast, the YouTube description, and on the screen if you're watching the video version. Be sure to jump over there and connect with us either on social media or Discord or both. We actually have a brand new Twitter community over there as well. So if you have the ability to join Twitter communities, you can join our community. I don't still, because Twitter hates me apparently. I'm gonna have to call Elon myself and be like, hey, let me join communities. But you guys can. You're in the community, but Twitter doesn't like me still apparently. So. But let's jump into what we're looking forward to playing over the next couple weeks. Again, if you are watching the YouTube video version, you're going to see us scroll the games on the screen that are coming up over the next couple weeks. Thanks to Metacritic for putting that list together that we're going to be scrolling. But as they're going by and you guys see what's coming out, our next episode is going to be recording live on May 23rd. We'd love for you to join us. But what are you guys going to be playing over the next couple weeks, Barry?
I don't really have anything particularly planned. I'd like to get back more into Final Fantasy XIV. The Uden Chronicles Rising, if I get a code from the Kickstarter, I'll probably give that a shot because that looks really great. I might give Elden Ring a shot finally. It was one of those things where, maybe I'll go back to Yakuza 0. I'm at this point where I just did, Horizon, and I finished it, and I've been really busy now with stuff with Premium, so it's like I'm not sure what I'm going to go to next.
Nice. Greg, how about you?
It's probably gonna be more getting stuff off the backlog. I mean, I kind of flipped through these, and none of these really stood out like specifically to purchase. So I'm hoping to finally get back more into Fire Emblem Three Houses, along with Fire Emblem Warriors. I do have some items for Premium to like kind of be more acquainted with, like the Demon's Tier and like the Pigeon Dev Collection. I haven't played those games yet, and obviously as a member, I need to be able to help support the team and offer my experiences that I have like with those games. So those are definitely a little bit more higher priority items for the time being as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll be, of course, playing some Rocket League as of May 9th, I believe. So the day this comes out, they're actually bringing voice chat back to Rocket League. It was like really, really broken for a long time, and they're bringing it back. So I think May 9th. So when this episode drops, Rocket League's supposed to have voice chat again. So I'm kind of hesitant about that, because the text chat gets really toxic, and I'm like, I don't know. While it'd be helpful to talk to my teammates, I also don't know, kind of what you're saying, Barry, with that other game too. I'm like, is this going to be a good idea, or is it better for us to just stay silent? I don't know. It's like mixed opinions. Like if everybody's communicating well, it could be a really good thing, or it could turn really bad too.
See, communication well doesn't matter. It's about how people react. So you could be like, go get the ball. They're going on this side. Go there. And the person who's closest decides to go the other way.
Right.
And then it starts to go, what are you doing? Go there. And they're just like driving in circles and not paying attention. Are you a moron? Like that's when it starts going.
It's all the things that I want to type, but I usually don't, but sometimes do. Now I can just say them. Like,
That's really what it happens when people don't listen or don't perform is when it gets bad. If
yeah.
people listen and work together as a team, then it's going to be good.
Yep. It's those times where I go from, Steve's usually a nice guy until you make stupid decisions on the pitch for Rocket League. Then I'm going to not be so nice. Um, but yeah, I think that there's nothing really, really big that is standing out that is coming out of the next couple weeks that I'm particularly excited about. So I think I'm going to be jumping back to some old stuff as well. Hopefully actually play some Robot Name Fight like I talked about, like hoping to play last time. I'm actually going to try it to make that happen. And then I think I've got some additional time over the next couple weeks. I may finally jump into Life is Strange 2 and get started on that one as well. But yeah, I want to make sure that I have some good time to spend with it, because that's, as I've said on previous episodes, that's a series that I don't like to split up very much. I like to like a good TV show, I like to binge as much as I can in one setting, and so that's the main reason why I haven't jumped into it just yet, because I want to have a good chunk of time to spend time, playing through it. So, but I've been listening a lot to the Life is Strange True Colors soundtrack recently. When I was traveling, I was like, I know Barry, it's your least. I think you said least favorite of all the Life is Strange series, but I think the music of that game is what really got me as well. And so I like signed up for the playlist of like all the music and everything and downloaded to my phone. I listened to a ton of that when I was traveling, and that was really cool because the music is so good.
Yeah, no, the music is great. Like I said, I love the game True Colors. For me, it just boils down to the very, very end.
Yeah.
And the stakes or lack thereof that I feel is like a tradition with Life is Strange.
Yeah.
Like you need that real morally gray decision where there is no right or wrong answer. And while there is no right or wrong answer in this decision, it also kind of doesn't matter which one you pick either. There's no stakes.
That's true. Yep. And for me, yeah, I think I've said this before too, but like, yeah, because it was my first game, I was like, it didn't bother me at all. I was like, okay,
yeah,
cool.
But if you did the first one first and then did this, I think you would feel the same way.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yep. Well, I know, Barry, you were on a recent podcast episode with another podcast. Do you want to talk about that one and any others sightings where people can find you around here? Because I know you're talking with a lot right now.
I'm trying to think where I will have already come out. So sometime today as of the recording today on the 6th, I'll be Royal City Gamescast. An episode will go live where I join those guys on the night of the 6th, which is tonight, but that's going to be live. So by the time you're watching this, it will already have happened. I'll be with Nintendo Pals. I'm going to go with our buddies, the Game Deflators, on Sunday. I'm not sure when that episode goes live. I'll be in the Domain Sunday as well. Again, I'm not sure when that goes live. Next week, I have an episode with Sidekick Gaming going live, as well as the Classic Gaming Brothers. Next week, I also will be on the premium stream on Tuesday night for launch. So tomorrow night, if you're watching this live, on Wednesday, we'll be on Go Game Go live. On Thursday, the All N Nintendo podcast I'll be on. And on Saturday, the Nintendo Cartridge Society. So I'll be all over. World 1-1 podcast, too, will be sometime next week, I think. I'll be all over the place.
So if you want more Barry, you're going to find a lot more Barry really soon.
I was going to say, is there any podcast you're not on next week?
If you're listening to this and you have a podcast that Barry's not on, be sure to reach out. And it might be like 2 of you left, but... He's also going to be on the NintendoFuse podcast.
Absolutely.
Greg, what are you up to over the next couple weeks until our next recording?
Well, I'll pretty much just be getting more up to speed, like with Premium Edition games, as I take on the distributor, like the head of distribution. In terms of game-wise, it'll just be, as I was alluding to, I'm hoping to play more of the titles under the umbrella, just to be more familiar with them and be able to like offer recommendations and just make them easier to sell going forward, just having played them and offering real experiences and what they play like and everything. So nothing like Barry is a huge executive schedule of appearing all over the internet over the next week, but Yeah,
Nice.
I'll be definitely around in Discord, and both the Premium Edition Discord and our Discord as well.
Cool. Yeah, like we said, our next episode would be live recording again on May 23rd. So join us live. We go live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, and we're live on YouTube and Twitch at those times. So we would love for you to join us live if you've never done so before. It's a great experience. So you can jump in the conversation, and we refer to the chat as much as we can throughout the whole episodes. We'd love to have you there. And then I believe the episode after that will also be pre-recorded. We'll update you on that in the next episode. We get to that point, but yeah, we'll kind of be doing it, bouncing around a little bit, and judging around our schedules and stuff like that this summer and everything. But we'll let you guys know what all that is as soon as we can, so that you know when to expect it. But if you've not subscribed to the NintendoFuse Podcast, either on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, that's the best way, so that when it does go live or when we do publish, it just goes straight to your inbox, straight to your feed, and you can get it whenever that goes live. So thanks for all of you that do subscribe. Thanks for all of you that are sharing this with others and hitting all the like and bells and all those buttons that are in front of you, and and all those different things. We're just very grateful for all of you guys, and yeah, look forward to chatting with you all and seeing you all at our next live episode on May 23rd. But until then, happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you next time.